afternoon, good evening, good whatever it is. Welcome to Monday, Car Stereo Talk Live. One of the oldest running.
Yeah. What's up, Marty? Marty Dean.
Marty's gonna be in Florida. We're gonna see him soon.
Aussie Hyrus.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Ooh, hope he's bringing Aussie items. I might have to bring some cash. We'll buy some new irons. Because we need more irons. Jesus.
More irons. I'm from Canada.
Yeah, Australia in the house. North Carolina, California, Saludos, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Saludos.
Northern Minnesota. Was hot.
Cali.
Then in Florida. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Trinidad, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How's everyone's week going? New Zealand.
Vancouver.
Who's watching the playoffs?
Texas.
Aussie Irons will be at K-Fest.
Yes,
we know you're going to be there. We're just hoping for inventory. Those of you that are okay, so those of you that are in industry, obviously we have a plethora of both here that follow the show. Mm-hmm. What's up, Bobby? But that's whose dad catching some amazing fish down there in Key West on vacation. Haley's laughing because he's doing it at nighttime, and he typically goes to bed early. So she's like, she must be getting one hell of a nap. Milwaukee.
That's what we use for
would be
drills.
nice if back orders would stop. Good luck. Anyways, what I was getting ready to say, for those of you that are in industry and are planning on attending Knowledge Fest Orlando, which is coming up on June 25th, 6th, and 7th, we will be there. We are teaching a class on Friday at 10:30, and the name of the class is How to Create Videos for Your Future Customer. So Fernando and I will be going, and we'll be talking about how to make videos, not for a popularity contest or anything like that, but to help dealers and hopefully all those cool cities that we just mentioned make videos so it's easier for you guys to find them to have work done. So this will be the 4th time we're teaching a version of this class, and I think this will probably be the last one. So it'll be a fond farewell experience, but I don't know if we're gonna do it anymore. We've kind of been kicking that idea around, and I don't think I don't know if they need it or not. So we'll see.
All right.
Yes.
Let's go to
Facebook.
To the Facebook.
Let's go over, Facebook. So for those of you that don't know, we have a little page called the 12 Volt Clean Wire Club, and you can make a picture, submit it, and every week Fernando goes through there and he picks what he wants to be the top of the page.
Yeah.
Who do we have this week?
This week we have Dan.
Dan did a really nice job here.
Yeah.
With some Sony passive crossovers, but those are biampable crossovers, so it's the Sony 3-way set. He uses a JL4 channel to power the whole thing, so 1 and 2 are going to the mid bass, 3 and 4 are going to the mid range and tweeter combination. He's got the heat shrink action going on.
Nice, yeah.
All of the RCAs with the tweak. Is that a tweak? Yeah, that's a tweak 88.
Yep.
Looking nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
So he's got Tech Flex on everything, twisted wire, ends. Yeah, he did a really nice job. And if you're doing a really nice job, and by all means submit your work, guys. That's how you get to the top of the page.
It's fun.
And if you're a dealer and you submit your work, make sure you put your or work for a place. Make sure you put your location down so that people can find you.
Can find you, definitely.
Makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. You're totally worthy. What's your preferred camera of use? We typically will use the EchoMaster cameras. Mm-hmm. So they have a huge website. You can find them at echomaster.com. They have about 500 cameras on their website. We typically will use their tag cam that they make. That's really thin and awesome looking.
Or some of the Dodge Ram 4 factory.
Yeah, they make the factory ones that are really
factory
nice,
ones that goes there. And
Hilton Head, what's up?
Hey.
So
yeah.
Automotive technicians here, not exactly car audio. Understandable. Automotive technician, not car audio technician. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. How's it going? How are you? How was your day off? Other than not enough.
That's not enough.
We did
It's
spend the
never
morning
enough.
together in a parking lot in
Yes.
the beating sun,
Yes.
looking at a handful of cars that were getting judged for car audio. So, yeah, handful. So, I think we
Yeah.
had more fun just
Yeah,
shooting
just
the crap.
talking. Yeah.
So,
No. I like it. We went to see some cars and everything, and then from there I just went to the pool.
from there I went to get pizza.
There
Yes,
you go.
Abraham, that is correct. Are we ever going to get DSR again? Yes. Yes, we will get DSRs again. The thing you have to keep in mind is that Texas, I believe they use a Texas Instrument chip. I'm not sure, but everyone has been buying those up. But yeah, there'll be more. Next time I talk to Mark, I'll see. But like Rockford sold out way early, and at the time, iData had like 3,000 of them in stock, and those sold out like that too. So yes, we were at Amplified Auto Sports.
Yeah.
And that's where we were hanging out with Donnie.
Donnie, yeah.
Hey guys, is Hyrus audio really
A big deal?
big deal compared to CD quality? Yes. Yes, it is. However, the thing you have to keep in mind is your listening environment. High-res audio in a car sounds way different. And when you're sitting in the car tuning it like we do, high-res is very impressive. If you already have something that you're listening to high-res on, meaning like you have a really nice home setup or a headphone setup that high-res is ultra important, then yes, it only makes sense to move it into the car. However, if your car is your main platform for high-res listening, that's a tough sell. It's not undoable because, I mean, it is a better platform. And if you're buying really expensive car audio, then yes, you want to play the best source possible on it. However, keep in mind, doing 50, 60 miles an hour up the expressway in a noisy vehicle, you're not going to get the benefit of high-res just because your car is noisy. So there's a lot you need to do to just enjoy the high-res.
It's Lance.
Is Lance Doss the boss there?
That's right.
Oh, Lance.
He's
What's
there.
up, man?
You doing, man?
Dean
Well-
Fernando, you don't have a day off. You have a few hours off. LOL. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Seems like,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that was it.
Haha,
I mean,
when will PAG make cool stuff again?
that is
That's it.
that would be a great letter to send them. Specifically,
Just them.
just put them. I won't give names because I don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah.
But there are names that I'd love to give, but I'm not going to because I'm a 1%er. Piss off. But he's not wrong. Rumors true about Pioneer possibly going bankrupt. No,
Oh.
actually, I mean, if you're reading the news from 2019, then yes, that was true. They were 45 days out from going bankrupt, and they were looking
Yeah.
I think they were already bankrupt at that point, and they were looking for somebody to buy them. A Chinese company came in and purchased them and has owned them ever since. The reason why we're not Jeff Smith. Don't send anything to Jeff Smith. The reason why we're not seeing anything currently from them is just mainly because of the chip shortage and the microprocessor shortage that is happening. And that's the only reason why. And we had, it's funny, someone brings that up, because we had talked about that on the news show Friday. For those who don't know, we do a 9 o'clock news show every Friday on Dean and Fernando's Car Stereo Clips, the YouTube channel. And what we were talking about is priorities of the manufacturer. And I had made a comment, or we were discussing about how some manufacturers still want to make sure they all have contracts with OEM, and they're worth a fortune, and there's penalties and there's all kinds of things that go with it. But they also still realize that the consumer, though is not the big money, is an important aspect of this. Like, you still need a consumer market to buy your product. Pioneer, they have a limited amount of stuff available to them, and whatever is going into the OEM stuff, which, hey, that's a business decision. Love it, hate it, whatever. I don't know. And there again, it's just an editorial, it's just a comment. It doesn't have any bearing of what they actually feel, what they're doing. Everyone is doing the best they can at this point. So,
Lance Doss, I just did a car play in the Aston Martin. Nice. Last week. He's working, man.
Man, you're the man.
Jason.
I don't want to do that.
Have you done an Alpine firmware update?
Oh, he's probably asking about something that he typed
yeah.
in here.
No.
I was watching an older video on an F250. You guys did. Where did it go? Did when an Amp Pro first came out. And the LGDs you guys had to use before LGDs came out made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Alright, I have this one. Are the integrated crossovers from the Maximus 602's V2 non-polar or polar crossovers?
Non-polar.
They're non-polar?
They're non-polar. You don't passive crossovers are non-polar. Yeah.
Okay.
The tweeter is non-polar. It's AC. It's gonna be non-polar. We opened them up the other day.
Yeah, I remember that you did.
Pioneer 12 volt did not go bankrupt. It was Pro Home that was sold off. Actually, Pro Home, DJ, but yes, McNulty, you're correct. But they almost went bankrupt. So close. Thank God they got bailed out. What's up, Fro? Speaking of Fro being here, that brings me to the next thing we just found out is that this Thursday night, which we normally do in reverse polarity with Hi-Fi Vega over on the Hi-Fi Vega network, and then heading over to do Side Jag, whose special guest is going to be Fro himself, Jason the Man, Man, Myth, Legend, is going to be postponed a week because, as it turns out, the graduation for Hi-Fi's kid is Thursday, so we're canceling Thursday. He's got to go to graduation. Bipolar, not non-polar. Yeah, that too. But yeah, so this week we won't be doing any Thursday shows, so sorry about that, but we will be doing them the following week, so everything will just carry over. Did you see the new JBL crossover? I had them water resistant and magnetic sound. No, I haven't seen those. No. Well, at some point we will, I'm sure.
All right. 2007 Ford Expedition with a rear seat entertainment, factory amplifier, factory speakers. Replace the head unit with the Alpine Halo, the cheaper one with the aux input.
Okay.
And the pack interface. When you turn the car on and the volume is down on the head unit, it's a whine from the rear speakers. You can press the headphone button on the rear seat overhead to activate the wireless headphones and it goes away. Press it again and come back.
Yeah.
Does it every time.
Yeah. So that was the weird thing we ran into, where there was like a ground, a ground problem. Like there was either an extra ground or it needed a ground. I want to say there was an extra ground, like something we needed to cut a ground. No, we needed to cut.
Yes,
we had to cut a ground.
That. Yeah, and the harness.
Yeah, in the harness. So in one of the RCA harnesses, I think there's a ground that needs to be cut. That was causing the issue. You're getting a ground loop from the video signal, or from the audio signal on the video. But yeah, there was something we had to. I don't remember what it was. It's like one of those things at the 11th hour. It's like snip. Oh, it's fixed. Awesome. But yeah, if memory serves, it was a ground issue. Yes, two noise filters.
All right,
I don't know
got
if the
David?
noise filters work. Do I have David? I don't have David.
All right, so David has an ILX 207 time alignment question. Have a 4-inch in the dash, 6.5 lower door, and the tweeters in the upper door. Which speaker should I measure from?
For a 207?
The ILX 207. Well,
all right, so the problem you're going to run into with the ILX 207 is it's never going to work no matter what you do when it uses math. So here's what I recommend. Fade it to the front. Play a polarity pop track from My Disc. Go to get the Sheffield Labs My Disc polarity pop track. Play that. Go into your time alignment settings on your Alpine. Make sure they're all zeroed out. Make sure don't let no delay, no level, no nothing. Make sure they're all zeroed out. And start moving the driver's distance out and see if it changes. What should happen as you move that speaker out, the pop sound should sound like it's moving across your dash. If you don't hear any result from that, like it's not moving, then put it back to 0 and start moving out the passenger speaker. Because in some of the Japanese radios, they're actually backwards. So start moving it out. And what you'll hear is the pop should start to move there again into the center of the dash. That's the easiest way to do it on a radio. Fade back in the rear, see how they sound. If you need to, add a couple milliseconds delay to the rear just because, but adjust the volume down on those a little bit, and you should be all set, rock and roll, and have a nice center image. But when it comes to those, it's really difficult to put measurement in and have it actually even come remotely close to being accurate. So, SNI1 worked also. Yes.
Yeah.
Noise filters. We're going to talk about noise filters. Is this a noise filter show? Noise filter show?
I have behind the seat, passenger seat, a battery. 0 gauge to my amplifiers. Do you think should I rewire to the alternator? It's a 2014 GM.
Should you rewire to the alternator? From the second battery?
I don't think
No,
so.
you just come off the, one battery to the next battery off of there to the alternator. Should you do a bigger alternator wire off of your battery to the front battery? Maybe. Also check your grounds, make sure all your grounds are good and whatnot. Big 3 upgrade, as they say, would probably be the best idea if need be, if you're having any form of problems. But that's about it.
2014 Jeep Wrangler with the Alpine subwoofer. Just replaced the deck with a Pioneer DMH C55NEX, currently using the factory amplifier. I'm planning on upgrading the amplifier to the audio control mini amplifiers. What speakers do you recommend?
Hold on 1 second. Hold that thought. It's the battery. Oh, it's one battery behind the seat. You're asking if you should. Okay, I see what you're saying. So, it's just the one battery from behind the seat. Should he upgrade the factory power to the 0 gauge? I see what you're saying. So it's the factory batteries located inside the car. So they just, it's like a Dodge. Where you have the alternator underneath the hood and the battery in the trunk. I have never upgraded any of the charging system wires from those. So, for example, like a lot of the cars have alternator in the hood, battery in the trunk. It's becoming more and more popular. Camaros have it. All the Chryslers have it. I've never upgraded that. I've never had that as a thing to do. It's nothing wrong with doing it. It's a good idea, but I've actually never, ever done that.
Right.
Ever. And we've never had any issue.
Okay, alright, for the 2014 Jeep Wrangler with the Alpine replacing the speakers, you thinking about the audio control mini amplifiers, fine. What speakers do you recommend? I thought we talked about this one last week. We normally go with Rock for Fosgate because they allow T2s, T1s in the back, or you can go T2s all the way around. Now we're thinking about just try the Maximus, the Morel Maximus, because they sound really good, and so check those brands.
But yeah, typically in a Jeep we're trying to go for really loud. If you have a big budget for your Jeep, then obviously look at something with a metal tweeter, like some Flax works really nice. Get that really must upgrade Honda ground. That would be a really good idea, Bobby. Yes, it would. But you have a Dodge.
Yeah.
K2s. Oh yeah, K2s in a Jeep are awesome.
Oh,
I think we've done that once.
Yeah, Flax we did.
No, I've done a K2 in a Jeep before. Yeah, a long time ago. What might you think it should cost to tune a JBL DSP system? Room EQ Wizard is a bit confusing. We basically charge, I think, by the hour. It's a couple $100. Yeah, I get it. Okay, go ahead. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I almost forgot.
It's 20 minutes.
It's 20 minutes in, guys. You know what 20 minutes in mean? Oh, it means it's time for Fundamentals of Car Audio.
Brought
to you by us. That's pretty much it.
Tool Drawer. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, DNF Tool Drawer is
the place to be. Did you pay yourself?
I did not pay myself. Today's topic is parallel and series. So everyone just sit back for the next couple minutes, hold your questions, let's bang through this, and let's try to learn some stuff, shall we? Oh yeah. And if you'll notice this week, I went with a nice white background so it's easy to see. Wiring up your speakers to, I'm working on. Okay, wiring up your speakers to get the right ohm load is very important. If done improperly, you could blow up the amp, not get all the power from the amp, possibly blow up the speakers. Things to know, and this is really important, guys, is if you have a dual voice coil speaker, they both need to be connected, both voice coils. All right, that's important. You cannot make ohm loads be anything other than what they are. The reason why that's important and why I put that on there is because a lot of people come to us and they'll say, you know, I have a dual 2 ohm voice coil and I need a 2 ohm load. It's not possible. It physically cannot happen. All right. So these are two things that you have to understand. All right. That's why they're red. That's why they're there. That's it. All right, there's no way around any one of these two things. If you need a specific ohm load, you have to get the woofers that will achieve that. There's no magic, okay? Moving on. All right. Series wiring increases numerically but reduces the stress on the amp. What you see here is a picture of 4 4-ohm loads, and the reason why I made them look like Christmas lights is because this is basically a Christmas light. When one of those breaks, the chain stops and the sound doesn't exist anymore. You go positive to negative, positive to negative, negative to, or you go positive, negative, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. You know, you daisy chain them as you're seeing here, and that is going to give you a 16 ohm load. Parallel wiring decreases numerically but increases the stress on the amplifier. So the opposite is happening. So when you have 4 4-ohm speakers again, you're going straight negative, straight positive. That is going to be a 1 ohm load. The closer to 0 you get, the harder it is for the amp to power. All right, so the lower you get on that, like the closer to 0, half ohm, that is more stress on that amplifier. Granted, the amplifier should be built to handle that if it is capable of handling those lower ohm loads, but 0 is a dead short, which is, that's it.
You're done.
Half ohm is really freaking close to 0. All right, moving on. 1 DVC speaker connection. If you have a dual voice coil, dual 2 ohm, and you need a series style connection, this is going to give you a 4 ohm load. And you run a jumper between one side's positive, the other side's negative, and you will get a 4 ohm load. So basically this is the easiest way to wire up a speaker, a jumper across from one to the other, dual voice coil 2 ohm, 4 ohm load, super simple, looking sexy. Now if you have a dual 4 ohm voice coil wired in series, something you will never do unless, or very rarely will you ever do. No, we do that a lot. I forget. Take that. Sorry. My bad. But in a single woofer application, you won't be going for 8 ohm. This will give you an 8 ohm load in series. If we wire those same ones up in parallel, now it becomes a little bit, the drawing becomes a little bit more complicated. You connect both positives, both negatives together, and that dual voice coil 2 ohm will give you a 1 ohm load. If you have a dual 4 ohm parallel, this will give you a 2 ohm load. So these are all just single woofers and how they work. So there again, parallel, you're seeing that both positives connected together, both negatives connected together, and the number has reduced, whereas when you're in series, that number has increased. So series increases the number, parallel will reduce the number. 2 DVC speakers connected. Connections. Dual voice coil, 2 ohm. So we're doing a series parallel connection. This is a real popular connection that we do a lot of. So you take both of those woofers and individually you make a jumper go from each woofer, and that'll put them in series and give us our 4 ohm load. And now we're going to go parallel, and that will give us our 2 ohm load. We've reduced. So we've increased to reduce. Fun. All right, moving on. The same is true when we do it with a dual 4 ohm. This is the one nice one because you have dual 4. You're going to end up, you know, if you go back, dual 2s will give you a 2 ohm load. Dual 4s will give you a 4 ohm load when you're looking at pairs, when you're doing series parallel. Now, if we're just going to do parallel, where everything is going to be parallel, there again, those dual 4s are going to give us that 1 ohm mono on that amplifier. Oh, and that was the end of that. And if you have dual 2s, that's going to give you your half ohm on your amplifier. So things to take away from this: series increases, parallel decreases. There you go, guys. And that has been Fundamentals. On with the show.
There you go.
All right, what do we got?
All right. I have a 2018 Forester XT with the factory Harman Kardon system. I swapped the dash middlers for frogs and lose some volume. Will swapping out the 6x9s would be better? 2 or 3 way ones add some volume? If you so, which one? And will the factory amplifier allow the mids and highs to play from the new 6x9s?
Wow, there are so many things going on in this question. It's it's kind of hard. All right, so let's kind of break this down into its core problems and work our way through it. You have a factory amplified system, and you took out the factory middlers and you put some what you thought were higher end middlers in there, and the goal was that you're going to increase the sound of the car and make it sound better. Problem number 1. If it's a factory amplifier, it's factory EQ'd. That's a big no-no. Like, you never do that unless there's a blown speaker and you're just going to replace that blown speaker, because you need to know what the characteristics of the speaker you're replacing. Was it a 2 ohm speaker? Was it a 4 ohm speaker? If it was a 2 ohm speaker and you place it with a 4 ohm speaker, what was the original efficiency, which you'll never be able to find out, on that factory speaker? If it was not efficient but 2 ohm, if you go with a 4 ohm that is efficient, it's going to sound close. However, if you go with a 2 ohm speaker that is very efficient, and then you replace it with a 4 ohm speaker that's just a high-end 4 ohm speaker, it's going to suck. You're not going to notice any different. Prime example of that right off the top of my head is in the new Jeep JL with the premium sound system in it. That factory 3.5 in the dash, or middler, sounds incredible. It's 2 ohm, it's highly efficient, it's got a neo magnet on it. We replace that, take that out with something else, and that's all you do, it's immediately going to sound worse. Alright? Secondly, because it's a factory premium sound system, if you want to put a speaker in the door, if you put your ear to the door and you don't hear the sound that you're trying to have it play, meaning there's no treble there, when you replace it with an aftermarket speaker that has a tweeter, it's going to be fed the same signal, so it's not going to play those tweeters. They're going to be actively crossed over, and they might as well not be there. So you're not going to get anything out of those either to get that loudness back. It really comes down when swapping out factory speakers that are amplified. You just don't want to deal with that unless you're planning on adding amplifiers. The simplest solution to this would be to add some form of an amplifier and go from there, and also maybe add in some form of a summing device and or Amp Pro or AR or something along those lines. Just swapping out speakers isn't going to work. It's not going to do your deal. So,
all right. 2019 Honda Civic EX, 8 speakers, no center or sub. The factory amplifier does that model have OPAS, factory EQ, time alignment? I will be using a DM608 with the KXM 800.5 to hopefully resolve those issues if I can with that device.
So if we have a 2019 Civic, no center, no sub, no factory amp, then you're fine. You're going to hook up a DM608 to it. You're going to rock and roll. You're going to be, it's going to work like a champ. You'll have nothing to worry about.
I have a.
It does have factory EQ, but nothing to lose any sleep over. That's an easy one to work with. So you're good.
All right, I have a DNX 575S. Every time I have my phone connected through the USB with Android Auto, the radio will stop Android Auto when the volume surpasses past volume 35, but Bluetooth streaming works perfect. What could possibly be the issue? I would try different phone, like if somebody has another Android, or if somebody has an iPhone,
it cutting off? Or?
It's cutting off Android Auto. It might be
well,
not.
I mean, is it cutting off Android Auto in the fact that Android Auto is stopping, or is it making just no audio from the system, like it's clipping out? If it's clipping out, then it's too much signal getting into it, in which case you could just go into the source level control and turn it down 1 or 2, and that would stop it from clipping out.
Yeah.
But there again, that's one of those weird ones where it's like, we need to know, I guess, more information. What is floor noise? Ooh, that would make a great topic. But all right, the easiest way to think of floor noise is this is your pipe. So this is audio right here, okay? And be it an amplifier, amplified signal, or an RCA signal, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever your sound is traveling over. Inside of that signal is going to be a certain amount of noise. It's just, there always is. It's background noise, it's switching noise, it's amplifier noise, it's radiated noise, it's magnetic interference. All right, but there's just all kinds of noise. Anytime you amplify something, you create noise. So there's noise in the background of everything. What happens is, when you make things, as you turn things up, the floor noise, which is small compared to the signal, will grow with the signal. It gets louder. In the situation where you have a factory system and you're going to integrate into it, you're now saying, okay, what is my factory signal to noise ratio? What is the floor noise that this radio has? So, like for example, in an F-150, which we do tons of, it's a 15 watt or 18 watt amplifier, and that's all it was ever made to be. So now we're saying, okay, we want to re-amplify that. Well, we want it, so let's say the signal to noise, here's your signal and here's your noise. All right. Well, because we're going after the amplifier, we really can't change that process. So now we're going to give you this much signal, which in turn is going to give you that much noise. Where you really notice that floor noise is when the volume is turned all the way down and you hear like white noise, like just white noise in the background. Most people aren't really big on floor noise, meaning they don't really hear it because, for one, their ears don't play down that low, or two, no one ever plays the volume all the way down. So that's why it's not like the biggest concern, but in some cases where you turn the gain up. So if you set your gain structure up improperly and you've turned your gain up way too sensitive, now you've even made that floor noise even worse because you're taking the floor noise that's coming into it and also adding the amplifier's floor noise into it. So now what you end up with is every time you turn on the car, it's like the air conditioner's on, but the air conditioner's not on, and you just have this inrush of sound, and you're like, the hell is that? Is there an air leak in my car somewhere? So ideally, when integrating into a factory stereo, having your gains as low as humanly possible is terrific because it'll help to negate as much of that as you can. So I know it's a confusing topic. I'm sorry if that didn't help, but I did my best.
All right. What banana connectors do you guys use to connect the speakers? I can find them in your tool drawer.
We just use ferrules. We don't actually use banana connectors.
I think he's talking about connecting the speakers, the bullet connectors.
No, they're not. Well, no, they're. I think he meant. I don't know what he meant, but no, we don't use any banana connectors on anything. If we're talking about the bullet connectors, it's just standard bullet connector. But if we're talking about
he's talking about the bullet connectors.
Okay.
Especially the tweeters for quick disconnect.
So that's just a bullet tweeter. But what we do list on there is when we do the higher end installs, there's a CX 15, 30, and 60 connector, which is what you'd want to buy, or any one of the waterproof connectors. That's a 2-wire connection. Those are easier to get on there than bullet connectors because we just buy those. I mean, you might be able to find those at a discount at an auto parts store or something like that. But there you go. Cheap amps push hard rock floor noise. All amps have floor noise. It's just unavoidable. But
all right.
hi, Debbie. Hi, Josh.
Hey,
hi, Justin.
Just bullets.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. All right. 2021 RAM. Speaker replacement. Two-way separate. Tweeter in the dash or in the corner, or 3 ways with the tweeter in the cell panel and the 3-inch in the dash corner. What do you think?
I mean, if you're willing to cut into your car, go for it. I mean, the 3-way. I mean, typically we would do a 2-way. You know, we would just do the 2-way on that. The factory tweeter on that is actually in the door. When they do the factory 3-way set, it's a mid-range in the dash, tweeter in the door, mid-bass in the door. But yeah, either one of those would, you know, it's up to you. If you want to mount a tweeter up on there or build something or whatever, yeah, go for it. A 3-way set is always more fun. But most of the time, I don't like cutting into the car. I just would rather go with a higher end set of components and move it from there.
All right. So I have a 2016 Ford Focus ST base model, no Sony system. I use an LC2I to run a sub amplifier and a 4-channel amp. When I get into the throttle, the sub amp cuts out, and I have checked the ground and power connection and they are good. What do you guys recommend checking to figure this problem out?
Wow. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's one of those crazy problems.
So
Cuts out.
it's like it only cuts out the sub?
That's what it sounds like. When I get on the throttle, the sub amp cuts out.
You know, so the high is still working fine.
So here's what I would do. Here's my thought on this. Digital multimeter in the car. And then I would start testing things with the digital multimeter while I'm doing that. So I would have either someone in the car with me or whatnot, and I would go directly to the inputs on the amplifier and connect my digital multimeter power ground right onto it and see what is coming on see what the amplifier is actually seeing, because the amplifier is shutting off for a reason. Okay, so there's only certain things that are going to cause the amplifier to shut off. Fake engine noise wouldn't do it. Fake engine noise would be on all the time, whether you're getting on the throttle or not.
Yeah,
so I would see what's happening. So, like, test your voltage when you do that. See what's happening. See if there's a drop in voltage. Could be. Typically, when there's a drop in voltage, the bigger amp stays on and the smaller amp shuts off. So it would be the opposite of what's happening, but it's worth testing. Also, check your DC in and then switch over to AC and connect into the RCA input, or the output, I should say, of the amplifier, and see what's going on there. See if you're still getting signal when you take off. So the other thing too is maybe it's the subwoofer enclosure. Maybe there's something wrong in the subwoofer enclosure, and when she really gets on it, like a wire in the subwoofer box moves.
So like it maybe like a wire touching the basket, and then
it could be that G-force of her launching the car could be what's doing it.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just shot in the dark here, as they say, as Ozzy says. But I think with the digital multimeter on there, you could get to the bottom of it fairly quickly.
Well, not quickly, but yeah.
More reasonable than guessing. I have two 10-inch in a sealed box. They are both single voice coil. Amp only has one sub input. Best way to wire this. Okay, whether an amplifier is got 2 sets of speaker terminals or 1 set of speaker terminals, most sub amplifiers are mono amplifiers, meaning they're only going to put out a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
You can do one of two things with your amplifier that is a mono amp that has 1 set of speaker terminals on it. You can Y off your speaker terminals out to your amplifier, meaning put both wires into the inputs of the amplifier if it has provisions that's big enough for that. Otherwise, put 1 wire in that's, let's say, a bigger piece of wire, and then Y that off out to the subwoofer enclosure. Or rewire your subwoofer enclosure so it's only using one speaker cup, which is the preferred method that I like. I don't feel like I don't feel like you need two speaker cups on a box. I would much rather just have the one, in which case that would make your life real easy. Drill a hole, connect everything up, and connect it that way through one speaker cup.
Yeah. So we're in the 40 minutes.
Are we at the 40 minutes? I thought it was 45 minutes. Is it 40? It's 45 minutes. We still got 5 more minutes.
All right. All right. So you got one more.
Any recommendations for the 2021 that doesn't have the BO upgrade? Okay. I mean, as far as replacing the speakers in it, it's an F-150. It's got a 6x9 and a tweeter. I would look for a high-end set of 6x9 components for sure. It has a really nice tweeter location in that now. So Vocal makes one, Audison makes one, Morel makes one, Audio Frog makes one. There's a bunch.
All right. A Rockford T2 and the JL Audio C2, 6.5 components, basically the same quality speaker? Or will you prefer one over the other for great sound? Thinking about going off to the C5s from the T2 components.
I mean, anytime you look at anything that's in a similar price point, you're not really making a move forward. I've not spent a lot of time with the C5s, so I don't know what their sound signature is like. The T's we've obviously done a lot of work with, and it is a very loud, obnoxious speaker.
Yeah.
So, you know, it has a metal tweeter. It's really bright. It's very dynamic. If you're looking to get away from something like that, heading into something that has like a dome cloth tweeter is going to give you that. It's not necessarily going to decrease the sound. That's going to depend on the efficiency of the speaker and whatnot. But it's definitely going to give you a different characteristics of that. So if those are the things that you're ready to move on from, then yeah, that could be a good move.
All right. Any recommendations for 2021 F-150?
I just read that.
Okay.
Okay. How about a Focal or Morel calendar next year? We had nothing to do with the audio control one. That was something that Chris Bennett came up with, and he says, hey man, can we have all the pictures that you've taken? And I was like, sure. So Fernando and I scoured through our phones and we gave him the pictures. And then the next thing we know, it was turned into a calendar. We had no idea that it was, you know, we had no idea. It was just one of those things, and it turned out really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the issue. I don't like the T2 tweeters.
There you go.
There you go.
So
if you like the mid-bass, you could easily just add a different tweeter, but yes. So how Rockford used to do that is T1 was cloth, T2 was metal, T3 was cloth, T4 was metal, T5 was cloth, high-end.
yeah.
So you could also try just swapping out the T2 tweeter for a T1 tweeter, because you can buy the tweeters a la carte.
Yeah, and come with the crossover and everything.
Well, you won't need it. You just use the same crossover. Yes, Dean mentioned using a T1 tweeter with a T2 woofer. Yes, that's a good way to go because the T2 woofer is really
Do you
nice.
use your battery charger when a system you're tuning the system?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Also,
You put it at 2 amp or 15 amp?
We put it at 15 amp.
Yeah.
Because it's got to get up and dance.
And
even so, battery chargers will put some battery chargers will put noise into the system, like that's there. But it's a low-level noise that isn't going to affect what we're doing with the tuning aspect of it. Usually we put it in towards if the tune is stretching out past a certain amount of time, that's like, all right, let's just we're gonna be here a while, so then we add the charger to it. So if it starts to become a headache, which some tunes do, then we immediately go to it. So, you know, some cars we can get in and there's not a lot of work that needs to be done, and in which case, like, awesome, we can just tune this real quick and move on. Other times that you get in there and you're like, no, pack a lunch.
Yeah. Is the Rockford Mini T404 TD clean enough to justify Morel hybrids, 602s?
Yeah, we've done those. We did that amp on a set of the 4-inch actually in a one of those little Nissan or Dodge pickup or vans. We did the hybrid 4-inch off of that amplifier in there, and it was phenomenal. for sure. It was really nice. We enjoyed it. I love those amps, man. We've put flax on those, so I don't think we've done K2s on those, but we've done. I know we've done flax. We may have done K2s. Yeah, I mean they're great amplifiers, man. There's no reason to think like you're gonna be like, oh damn, no.
Yeah.
You know, oh bummer.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to the next part of the show where we're going to take a little break here. So hold your questions for a minute. Let me come over here, and it is time for Spotlight. That's where we take some time and we spotlight something that we think is cool. And this week we have something cool over here on not that.
There you go.
Well, you got them backwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have. Okay, who cares? Anyways, what do we got, Fernando?
Well, right now we have, somebody asked before, do you guys use another wire kits, power cable, and all that stuff? So we don't use this specific brand but our friends from Ground Zero for Connect, they have it. Yeah.
So to finish up Gabby's car and do the Ground Zero build that we're doing, because it's distributed by the same company that does the Ground Zero Sound Digital, they sent us their new kits for Connect. So we have a 4-gauge kit, we have a 0-gauge kit, which is over there, and then they also make, which I know you guys are going to be excited about, is they make this cool power distribution block. They don't make it easy to open, but they have that cool giant power distribution block.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
So I mean, they have plenty.
Go over here to we go to your laptop.
There you go. So look at this. This is like a power band.
Now, not all of this is available in the United States, so they might not have that. So,
but check the website. They have. As soon as you click on something, they say find a dealer.
Yeah, go back up towards the top.
Yeah.
But like the pieces we have are definitely available here.
And they nice. So if you have the chance, check the website. Some people looking for like ring terminals with the heat shrink. So they come with that.
Yeah, not everything is available here in the United States, so don't get too carried away. Alright, let's go back to, not that page. So like here is that distribution block. So it's 4 in, 4 out, power and ground. This is available here in the United States. It is model number 4-FB420.
I got it right here.
You got it?
Yeah.
Alright, let's head over back to there. This is it right here. But yeah.
You can see it right there.
It's got LEDs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. It's got LEDs.
Oh.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it has little LEDs in it right there. Huh. I wouldn't see why it
right
wouldn't.
there. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that would freak us out when we go to put this in. We're like, why is it glowing red? What the hell's going on?
The power in the ground is clipping.
Yeah, so one more product to check out if you guys are interested in something other than the standard stuff that, we always use. We'll let you know what we think of this stuff once we get to put it in something.
Yeah.
But we got this for that build, and we're pretty excited to play with it. We always like playing with new stuff, and the whole purpose of Spotlight is so when we play with new stuff, we get to tell you about new stuff that we played with.
Oh, okay, so that's a good one. The LED only comes on when the fuse blows.
You know what that means? We gotta blow a fuse.
We have to.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can see it. But yeah.
Have you done the 2020 Corollas? Maybe. I honestly don't know. When in doubt, start with what the manufacturer recommends. That's always the best place. I use the same block on my test bench. Oh,
yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Go back. I was more Thomas. Up. Slowly. Right there.
The other day I asked about MVX silicone. Okay. And I asked silicone ring. I didn't. Oh Jesus! This is like a real pain in the butt.
I know.
I didn't know if you thought sonically it was worse than just open cell foam. I thought would be a better to prevent water dripping on the back. Oh no.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of guys that use those religiously and love them sonically. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think the foam matters as far as what substance you're using. The argument could be said one way or the other as far as which one is better. But no, it's a great product to use. You're going to have a wonderful time with it, and it's going to definitely improve the way it sounds. So go for it. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's Bill Freeman. I'll be by
Freeman.
Wednesday. Oh, to move the stage over. So our buddy Bill Freeman just bought his buddy Sajeki's BMW from him. And in the BMW, he's the guy that likes his center stage right in front of him. And, of course, Bill likes his center stage center of center. So he was trying to see if he could live with it, and he can't. So we'll be digging into the software and shifting it 12 inches to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had the factory premium system you like or were really impressed with? Yes, I have. There are a few systems that don't sound bad. Yeah, there are a few. Most like premium sound systems that you get in, where they really lack is in the subwoofer. Like sometimes, like the high highs in the subwoofer. So I feel in some cases, just replacing the tweeters with better tweeters, like a more active, bright tweeter, and adding some form of a subwoofer. Don't going crazy. That's the problem. Is most people go crazy, but adding just some form of sub to the back to balance out the system, it really improves a lot of those higher end systems. Sometimes by adding some form of EQ DSP amp to them helps a lot, but then it gets complicated and expensive. But yeah, it just depends. Like there again, it's not like you can. That's one of those times where someone comes in and like, what would you do to this? And it's like, I want to take it all apart. Like we talked about earlier when I said upgrading factory speakers in an amplified system is a big no-no, and that's why we would want to take it all apart, because we'd want to see what are we dealing with, what do we have, try a couple things, and just kind of go from there to see what's working and what's not working, because yeah, it can get really hairy really fast.
Yeah.
I like mine on the. So there you go. Stefan has a set on his, and he loves them. He likes them. But yeah, so honestly, the system that's in the system in the Gladiator, that I apparently am the only one that liked, but I was kind of impressed with what they've done with the Gladiator.
Funny. So Thomas says, watching some old videos lately, 9 months ago, you say you will consider buying a Mustang just for the three-way set, and now? Well, that was always the purpose. I think when you start talking about like if I buy a new car and blah blah blah.
Well, if you guys haven't picked up on things, it does take me a while to do things. So I will think things through for a long time before it actually gets done. It's definitely a character flaw. That's why I like working on other people's cars, because I don't spend that much time thinking about them. I could just get them done and move on to the next one. Is there a disadvantage running 2 subs in stereo? Well, first things first, let's understand something about running 2 subs in stereo. The likelihood of them actually being in stereo is pretty thin. Subs, because you said subs, you didn't say woofers. When you hear the that's a woofer sound. That's not a sub sound, okay? Most sub plays, most of the time, the subwoofer is a mono track that is being played. The mid-bass track is stereo, okay? So there's a point to where your sub isn't playing stereo anymore, okay? It's mono. Plus, most situations you're using a mono amplifier. Now, if you want to use a stereo 2-channel amplifier, let's say running at 2 ohm stereo for a set of subwoofers, you can do that. Don't worry about it. More than likely, what you're feeding it is not going to be a stereo signal. It's going to be a mono signal. Most radios only feed out mono output, even though they have a dual left and right RCA. It's not. It's just a monoed output. Very few radios is it like going, it's usually right like that. They just give you both of them for convenience. So there's no wrong here. It's just go to town, have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. What do we got?
I found
that one of my tweeters were wired out of phase. The shop says they did it on purpose to tune the system, but they will correct the polarity if I want to. Does having one tweeter out of phase make anything sound better? Yes and no. So, for example, if you hop into any Chrysler, when you sit in the car and you're driving down the road, that speaker is 180 degrees out of phase with every other speaker in the car. The reason why they do that is to add in spaciousness to the car. At that frequency, where it's playing, it will widen the soundstage and give you the illusion of a wider soundstage and possibly also center imaging. So, is it hurting it? It can. Is it helping it? It can. So there's really no wrong answer here. Now, if both of them were wired out of polarity with, let's say, the mid-bass and you're using a 12 dB passive crossover, that could also help too, because that could negate any phase exchange, or phasing issue that would cause a dip in the crossover frequency point. So there is certain things when wiring a speaker out of polarity which causes a phasing issue. There again, phasing is time and two speakers and distance. So just because it's wired polarity wrong, it might actually be back in phase by the time it gets to your head. So there again, it's one of those things where if it sounds good and you like the way it sounds and it's pulling the sound up and doing things, leave it alone. If it's annoying the heck out of you, then switch it. What may happen is you could have soundstage like this right now, and then when they flip it, it goes out to the corners, in which case you're going to be bummed. So.
All right.
Yeah?
Is there a 4-channel amplifier that has a DSP built into it that you guys would recommend?
There's several of them.
I have a JLC 3 6.5s and the doors, and I need a better amplifier to help improve the sound quality of them.
Well, right off the top of my head, you have the Kicker Key 200.4, which does everything for you. That's going to be your most inexpensive DSP EQ'd amplifier because it auto sets everything. So that right off the top is a great little amp to go with. We're using it in this car out of frame right here. This is a Sonata that we're putting the Morel Maximo system. So the Kicker Key is going to run just the front. It's a biampable amplifier, meaning it when you set up for biamp mode, it automatically knows 1 and 2 is going to be tweeter, 3 and 4 is going to be mid-range, and it tunes accordingly. Aside from that, audio control makes a D4.800. Ground Zero makes a 4-channel amplifier. Helix makes a 4-channel amplifier. Just about everybody now makes a 4-channel DSP amplifier. The nice thing about going with, like, say, some of them is that they have outputs for subwoofer as well as multiple amplifiers. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So yeah, why not?
They have plenty. They have plenty. So
there are quite a few.
Yeah.
Definitely the most popular is the audio control. All right.
Ha! That would be funny.
We're going to take it to the end of the show now. Let's go back to the laptop. DNF Tool Drawer is a place you can find all the cool things that we talked about. Like earlier tonight, we were talking about banana plugs that we don't use, but we use ferrules. If you want to find ferrules, they're over here in I think it's install stuff. But also, we'll go over to install stuff for a second, and you can find Tessa tape, Flexi Loom, shrink wrap, capacitors. Those connectors we were talking about are located in here. Oh, wow, you know what? I might not have the CX connectors in here. Oh, dang. I'm going to have to go back and add those.
Yeah?
Yeah, here's the ferrules. Yeah, I don't think I have those.
Okay.
Wow. Well, see, there we go. That's why we do these little tests. Also, if you want to pick up a t-shirt that says 5-star on it, make sure you head over to teespring.com, go /store/5-star, or just type in 5-star car stereo, spell it all out. and you can find the store where all the shirts are located. We got about a dozen different style shirts up there. Hoodies, men's, women, babies. We got it all, man. It's all there. So definitely head over there and pick up your cool shirt. And of course, The Boring Life of Dean and Haley. You can find that on YouTube as well.
That's
Find
right.
out about mac and cheese. Should you add water or milk? You decide.
Yeah.
See what we did.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that, that's the end of it, guys. That's the end of the show. That takes us to an hour. Keep in mind, if you don't follow us on Instagram, that's a bad idea. You should do that now, because this week, we have 4 more days left in this week where we will be giving away a Morale t-shirt. So if you're a Morale fan, they've allotted us 5 t-shirts to give away. We're going to be giving away 1 every day this week. We'll ask you to do something. You'll answer a question for us, and then one of you lucky guys will get a t-shirt.
One is gone.
4 days left for you to take advantage of that. So follow us over there on Instagram at the number 5 Star Car Stereo. Just part of the big 5-star network.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for staying with us.
You guys have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.